You're not Steve Rogers.
You're right. I'm not.
Captain America: A Brave New World. So I saw this movie on Sunday, and I kind of left the theater being like, that was an okay experience. I don't think this movie is bad. I just think it is forgettable. That's why on the thumbnail I put 6 out of 10, because it's just kind of like a experience. So there are some things I did like about the movie, and obviously some things I really didn't like about the movie. This is full spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, this is not the video for you. Come back after you've watched the movie. Before I really get into why this film just didn't work for me, I want to highlight some things I actually did like about this film. I liked Sam's new suit, especially the one he uses at the end of the film. Isaiah Bradley, right? I think that's his name. You know, the old Captain America, or the original Captain America. He just steals the movie. Like, he is the MVP of this film. Like, anytime him and Sam interact, anytime he's on screen, I was just like locked in. I was like, I needed more of him actually in this movie. So yeah, he is the MVP of this film. The action wasn't bad, and one of this actually parts that stood out for me is obviously when the end of how Sam actually beats Red Hulk, and when Sam is without his gear and he has to take on I'm forgetting the character's name. When he has to take on the serpent dude, and he just does like a double kick to his chest and just like goes over and knocks him out. Like, that shit hit for me. That's kind of it for the stuff that I actually liked about this movie. But yeah, it just didn't work for me. And there's kind of like 4 main things that just really drag this movie down. Number 1, I still just don't like Sam as Captain America. I like Sam Wilson. I like Anthony Mackie. I liked Falcon. In fact, when I talked to my friends and I was like, oh, if we were in the MCU, like, which characters would it be? Like, Falcon is one of my picks for me. So like, I have no beef with the character, and I kept watching the movie being like, man, if this was just a Falcon film, I think this would be a higher, like, it would go from just a 6 to a 7 automatically, just because I just don't think he embodies Captain America in the way that the MCU wants us to feel. I just don't feel like he has that presence. And then even when he has that small moment with Bucky, I was like, Bucky just has that, he just has a better feel of being Captain America. And then, with Thunderbolts coming out and him leading his own team essentially in that film, it's like he is Captain America. And I just feel like if I could rearrange things, I would have Bucky be the new Captain America, who's really struggling with his past being an assassin, and he wants to be a congressman and kind of change things from like the inside. And I would have had Falcon stay Falcon, and his struggle be like, okay, old Captain America, Steve Rogers, isn't around anymore. The Avengers aren't around anymore. Bucky's doing his own thing. Who am I now that I am essentially like a solo hero, right? How do I deal with something when I am kind of all alone, especially like a big threat like Red Hulk, right? And him just kind of struggling with, like, do I have what it takes to kind of go more major league, or like more, like have more of a leadership role without my support system around me? The other thing is, like, at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? He gives that speech, which most people don't like. I didn't really care for. I think it was too long. And, he stopped the terrorists, which he didn't really consider terrorists. And then now when you start this movie, everyone is like, oh, Captain America, Captain America. And it's like, Captain America is not only a beloved character for us, the audience, but like, he's very well known inside of the MCU. And you have to imagine that when people first started really hearing about Captain America, like worldwide, it's after he saved New York from the invasion. And the movie kind of brings that up, but like, I just don't understand why people would suddenly just see Sam and be like, that's our Captain America now. Like, it just feels weird. It just feels like they wanted us to be on board, and I'm just not on board with him being Captain America. I think he just should have stayed Falcon. Sorry, that's just how I feel. The second thing that really drags the movie down is Red Hulk and the leader in this film. I don't have a problem with them. Well, I don't have a problem with the leader being in this film if this was like the second time we've seen him as the leader, but the fact that we haven't seen him since like 2008 in the Hulk film, and the fact that the main antagonist is another Hulk, and Banner is nowhere to be seen or heard of from this movie. Like, I don't even think there's a line of him being mentioned. It's just like, well, at least like from like Sam or whatever. It just feels like a Hulk sequel, and just like the way that Captain America doesn't feel like Captain America, this doesn't feel like a Captain America movie. It feels like a Hulk sequel, which I think is just a detriment to Captain America's character. If I'm playing Angel's Advocate or whatever, I think it just really, it's really one thing to have him kind of come into the character on a TV show, which most people aren't going to watch because mainstream audiences are used to just watching the films. But then to give him a sequel that feels like a sequel to a character that you're not using is like, what are you trying to do with this character? Like, you're kind of throwing him under the bus, in my opinion. So yeah, another thing that really drops this movie down, and it really didn't need to. I feel like, again, if the leader was in a different movie and he had a plan and it kind of went sideways, but then we see him again and they could have like, oh, his intellect is constantly growing, and they really played into him like playing chess in this film, then I think it could have been like, oh, this feels a little more like the comics where like the worlds are really crossing over. But again, because we haven't seen the leader since 2008, it's like, what are we doing here? The other thing that drags this movie down, in my opinion, is the side characters. Aside from Isaiah Bradley, like Joaquin Torres, he's funny and he's kind of cool. He's the upstart, you know what I mean? But he definitely has like, out of all the characters, the lines that like they would put the MCU isms in, like, oh, who's behind me, isn't he, type guy. So I was like, all right, you're cool, but I kind of want to keep you at a distance because I know you're gonna say some dumb shit. And they wanted you to feel bad when he gets injured from the missile, but I couldn't feel bad because literally they're like, yo, don't go after the missile, and then when he blows it up, he basically blows it up in his face. And I'm like, all right, dude, like, what did you expect was gonna happen? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, what a dumbass move. So I didn't feel bad for him when that happened because I was just like, dude, it was in your face. Like, what were you thinking? But I did like the conversation that him and Sam had like at the very end of the film. I thought that was cool, and I was like, oh, I wish we had a little more of this banter, this camaraderie kind of connection throughout the rest of the film. I just didn't feel it between the two of them for most of the film. The other lady, I didn't even look up her name before I started recording. Like the head of security, the former widow lady. At first I was like, oh, okay, what side is she on? She's working for the president, but is she really working for the president? And it's like, oh no, she is. And clearly because of the whole like character that she was supposed to be and just like all the real world stuff, they definitely cut her out of the film. And you can even tell because there's a scene where she has like a metal breastplate, right? That blue, like almost like gold. Like clearly she was supposed to have like her suit up moment, and she didn't. But even then, like what she is in the film was just, I just didn't care for her. And the only reason I even remember her is because she was just really small. You know what I mean? Like nothing against the actress. But she was very small and skinny, so I was like, having her be this head of security, former like widow character, it was just kind of like, all right, cool. But then we also have like the agent that Sam was cool with, who was also like Secret Service for Ross, and I was like, okay, I don't really care for her either. So everyone's just kind of like there. Oh, there's a dude with the nice hair who's like a soldier that was helping Sam out, and he dies from the little sound wave that gives him like a heart attack or whatever. Like no one stands out. Like no one's even the leader as the antagonist of this film, even though I'd say it's actually Ross himself. For everyone else on the side, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like I won't remember you, which again leads into this movie kind of being forgettable. Like no one's really standing out. And the final thing that really made this movie just kind of like is the action scenes. None of them are particularly bad. Just none of them were insanely good. And I thought it was a really weird. I get what they were going for. I thought it was a really weird choice to have Sam start off the movie by fighting that giant guy. And having kind of struggled, like he didn't win the fight, but it seemed like like, oh, how would you handle like a bigger threat when you're like struggling against this like big old like 6'4" like jack dude? And I know they wanted to like, kind of set up that, hey, Sam is just a regular guy. He doesn't have the serum, and this will lead into the eventual fight he has with Red Hulk, and just kind of like dealing with that. But I just felt like, I know you want the character to have some sort of struggle, but I just thought like, don't show him being weak. Like let him start off strong. Have Red Hulk be the real problem that he has to deal with, and kind of figuring out this whole thing of like the mystery that's going on with everything. But yeah, the action scenes, like none of them really stood out, again, except for the fight where he's fighting and I still can't remember his name. I want to say Cottonmouth, but I know that's not right. But when he's fighting the serpent guy, and he does the double kick, and then he like knocks him out. Although it was really weird beforehand, where he like puts the bleach on the car batteries and it starts smoking everywhere, and I was like, oh, he's gonna like knock him out with like his like using gas, using his intellect instead of having to like fight this man because he just got shot and stabbed in the side. But then no, it just seemed like a weird smoke screen. I was like, that's an odd choice that we did that. But yeah, none of the, like when I think about it even now, like none of the action scenes stand out, and except for the other one I brought up, which is the end fight where he's fighting Red Hulk. And he stabs him with his wings and used the kinetic energy to explode and kind of give himself, that temporary win, you would say, or the round one win. But my problem even with that is beforehand when they're fighting, you'd see, we set up earlier in the movie that he has the vibranium wings, right? And when it gets hit, he can absorb it just like Black Panther. He can kind of shoot it out. And so when he's fighting Red Hulk, you see the wings keep glowing, and I was like, oh, okay, this is how he's going to use him to like kind of keep him at bay. He'll absorb the punch, smack him with the wing, kind of hit him back with his own force. And for some reason, he wasn't doing that, and then the wings stopped glowing like almost immediately after he like would fall and then get back up. And so I was like, are they on like a 10-second cooldown? Like, did you not get enough perk points to like have this last a little longer? And I was like, why aren't you using the one thing here that would actually help you like survive by constantly? Because if it was me, right, I'm absorb the punch, let it out, absorb the punch, let it out. Like, I'm using that kinetic energy because I'm not taking on a Hulk, dude. I'm a guy in a suit. I got a shield. That's about it. I got no superpowers. Even Sam's like, damn, I should have took this fucking serum. Fuck you, Bucky. You know what I mean? And so when you get to that last part where he stabs him and kind of does the explosion thing, it felt almost like when I was watching Wonder Woman 1984, and I was like, did she forget about the whole explosion thing with her like wristbands? I'm like, Sam, it's right in front of your face, they're glowing, like use the energy, like what are you doing? So I think that takes away from it, because even days later when I'm thinking about this movie, I was like, why did he wait so long? You know what I'm saying? And why did he like it felt like when you're playing a video game and you have your like special bar, but it's like maybe it has like another like the second layer of the special bar, and he was like waiting for that, and I was like, dude, spam your special. You're not gonna like, this is a Hulk, you know what I mean? Like, use what you got, man. And it just felt like a really odd choice. I know I say all these things and you probably hear this and you're like, oh, so the movie sucked. Again, I don't think the movie sucked. 6 out of 10 isn't bad. It's just kind of okay. I think this movie's just forgettable, even for all the good things. But it's not like, it's not Thor 2, where I'm just like, God, I don't want to watch that. It's just like, oh yeah, like Brave New World, that was a movie. You know what I mean? It's like somewhere just in the middle. It's like nothing I'd want to re-watch again, but it'd be like watching it for the first time again, just because it's like I didn't retain any of this movie just because I just didn't care about it. So take that as you will. But yeah, Captain America Brave New World, I feel like is just not the right step that Marvel really needs to turn the ship around. I still just don't feel that Sam Wilson should be Captain America. I think we really should have just left him as Falcon and just have him be more of a leadership role, and have him be more of a leader of the Avengers, and have Bucky, who's the new Cap, kind of like trying to figure his shit out somewhere else. I think Falcon, in my version, right, Falcon would be the Tony Stark or the Iron Man to Bucky's Captain America. Like, they're both kind of team leaders, you know what I mean? And I think that's where I would have moved the character. But I'm not in charge. This is the film that we got. Again, I think it's just kind of whatever. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I will see you guys next time. Peace.